Summer. Days at the beach, swims in the pool, margaritas on the patio, suntans, sandy feet, and late night sunsets. Oh my. If thinking about all those things doesn't make you want to go on vacation, well, you may as well just stop listening to this episode right here. Summer is upon us and in full swing. And I've been hearing from some of you that you're not sure exactly what to do with your goals right about now. Maybe you're the woman feeling guilty for taking time off of your goal this summer. Maybe you're afraid that if you take the summer off, well, you'll never get back on track. Obviously, you don't want to get stuck or lose momentum or fall behind, right? But I also know a lot of you, rightfully so, are worried about burnout. I mean, haven't you been through enough this year? Do you really still need to push and grind and hustle and do all the things? So what is a Goalden Girl to do? How do you balance goals and summer fun? And make no mistake here, there is a balance. On the one hand, there's a desire to make progress on your goals and the reality that success does require consistency. The habits that you're putting in place, the great habits you have, well, you have to actually do them for them to stay habits. So how do you balance that with the desire to enjoy and make the most of your summer, make the most of the relaxed atmosphere and good weather? Well, have no fear. I'm here to share some wisdom and tips with you to help you balance just that, progress and presence. Listen in, because by the end of this episode, you are going to be ready to make the most out of the summer season and the good weather without losing momentum, guilting yourself, or burning out. You're going to be intentional about what you actually want this summer and how to make it happen. And you're going to feel refreshed and excited about the next season when it does come and ready to keep making progress. Since it's summer and all, while you're listening, you may as well grab yourself a spot on the patio, pour yourself a glass of rosé, or my current obsession, a jalapeno margarita, and enjoy this episode. Welcome to the Goalden Girls podcast, where we believe you can have it all. I'm your host, Lisa Michaud, and I'm spilling tangible tips, goal-getting strategies, and real-life stories to inspire you to tackle your biggest dreams. You're a woman who knows you're made for more. Get ready to leave the excuses and self-doubt behind by being vulnerable, sharing your truth, and having honest conversations so you can succeed on your terms. Together, we'll set goals you'll actually achieve by staying motivated, having fun, and building a community of women empowering women. It's time to tap into your best self, get confident, and truly have it all. Goalden Girl, let's dive in. Hello, Goalden Girls. Lisa Michaud here for episode 26, How to Stick to Your Goals and Maintain Momentum Through Your Summer Vacation. I gotta tell you, I'm pretty excited to be here talking about summer, living through summer with you. For those of us that are living in the Northern Hemisphere, summer is in full swing and I don't know about you, but I'm really happy that it's here. And quick shout out here. If you are one of our amazing friends listening from down under, hello. I see you, my Kiwis, our Aussie friends. So you can have a listen now or hit pause, come back in November when all of us Northerners are hiding under umbrellas and shoveling snow. And you guys are all cooking shrimp on the Barbie and rubbing it in our faces, rightfully so. So for those of us in the Northern Hemisphere in summer, this episode is really important because I know a lot of you struggle with the balance between sticking to your goals, maintaining momentum, and making progress with the fact that summer's only here once a year and you've got to make the most of it. I keep hearing this reminder that one of the best case scenario, you only get about 80 summers. And that is really humbling to think. I mean, I might only have less than 50 summers left, and that's would be pretty awesome. I want to enjoy them. And this is really important to me, and I'm sure if you're listening, this is important to you too. At the same time, it is also important to not lose momentum entirely because your habits and what you do often translate into who you become. The problem that I see and why I wanted to do this episode is that people either don't give themselves permission to take a break and end up burned out and fizzled out, or they lose momentum and find themselves stuck in this cycle, or worse, just stuck, period. Can you relate? I'm guessing you probably can, and that's probably why you're here. In this episode, my promise to you is this. You are going to get the chance to decide what that balance is for you and to learn how to implement the strategies and implement this balance in your life this summer and every summer going forward. Before we go too far down, it's time for a shout out. Every episode, I always do a shout out to one of our listeners who's left a review, or I celebrate somebody in our Goalden Girls community, our Goalden Girls Mastermind. Today, I want to give a special shout out to Alicia from our Goalden Girls community. Let me tell you a little bit about Alicia's story because I think it's really inspiring and you guys are going to enjoy this. So Alicia was actually planning on getting married in June of 2020 to her soulmate. And then, of course, COVID hit. She was upset and disappointed and feeling a little lost. It felt to her like her life just wasn't going as planned. Like her life was now on pause until her wedding could happen, who knows when. I'm sure a lot of you guys hear this and can relate to that feeling of uncertainty, of missing out on the joyful things and feeling like you're waiting for life to restart. Put your hand up here. I know I can't quite see you, but I know other hands are up on this too. There's a reason why I want to celebrate Alicia here. There's a few reasons. First of all, she made the decision, and this is like, make no mistake here, this is a decision, that instead of either sulking or being disappointed for the next year or two or however long it was going to take for her wedding to happen and her life to, quote, restart, she made the decision that she was going to do something different. She decided that what's possible now, and this is the question I'm encouraging everyone to ask, and myself too, what's possible now? For her, she decided what's possible now is for her to make time for herself, to not be stuck planning a wedding, to not always be working super hard, which is what her tendency is, or to have a million social engagements. She committed to spending the next year working on herself, which is inspiring in itself. She also did a few cool things here that I think tie really well to this episode. Alicia was telling me that every week at work, she sums up her project's progress report. But in her quest for more balance and focus on herself, she decided to create a weekly report for her life to check in and celebrate what she's accomplished on a personal level and make sure that she's actually taking care and working on herself. So instead of just paying attention to what she was doing at work and how she was making progress there, she started looking at her own life and celebrating the accomplishments that she was having as a human. After she looked at her weekly reports, she realized how much more self-love and care she was actually giving to herself. And she started counting the little things like braiding her hair and stretching her neck. And for her, who is a go-getter to the max, this is her words, go-getter, she found it so incredibly satisfying. Now, I know this may not be for everybody. Not everybody wants to have report cards every week, for example, but I do actually have more and more clients who are creating what I call success scorecards to check in, and I know it's been life-changing for so many. We're so quick to count the successes when they're the big milestones or when it's for work, and we don't always do it for ourselves. And that's where the success scorecard, or for her weekly report on her personal life, has been so helpful. So stay tuned. I may do an episode on this later. Side note there. But back to Alicia. The last thing I want to celebrate for her is that, well, hold on. Before I celebrate, let me say this. Self-described, Alicia is a workaholic. From the outside, I know she is ambitious, she is determined, she is driven, and she is extremely successful. And in the last 6 weeks, she's taken 2 full weekends off completely offline. That has never happened before. And there's no one better, I think, for this episode to recognize than Alicia. I reached out to her and I asked if I could share her story with you, and she said yes, which thank you very much. And she shared this quote, and I couldn't find the source, but I just think that sums things up so well. Here's the quote that she shared. I thought 2020 would be the year I got everything I want. Now I know 2020 is the year I appreciate everything I have. So good, right? Alicia also told me this. Pre-COVID, I was a goal-getter and all about work. Now I'm a go-getter on life. Isn't that the best? Thank you so much, Alicia. Thank you for sharing this. Thank you for inspiring us, and keep making time for yourself because you matter and you are amazing. I love doing these shout outs, you guys, and I would love to feature you too. If you are in our Goalden Girls community or Goalden Girls Mastermind program, make sure you're joining in our Friday celebrations or message me and I will totally feature you. If you are not yet in our communities or in our programs, join the waitlist and I'll make sure there's a link in the show notes for you. And please, if you haven't already, take a moment to leave us a written review on Apple Podcasts. It makes a huge difference and allows us to shout you out and say thank you to you. And most importantly, helps get our podcast found by more women like you who need to hear this. All right, let's talk how to stick to your goals and maintain momentum through your summer vacation. To kick us off, let me tell you a story of one of my journeys of finding balance in this exact situation. For years, I told myself I would exercise consistently. I would put workouts in my calendar, I'd schedule runs with friends, and generally I was pretty good about doing it. But every single time I went on vacation, the same thing happened. I would take a break. I mean, hello, it's vacation, right? And then I would struggle to get back into it. Months would go by, and then somewhere around January 1st, I'd get motivated again to work out just to cycle into this exact same thing the next vacation and the next year, which, if you know me, I'm a travel lover, and so this happened more often than not. Before I went to New Zealand and Fiji for a friend's wedding, this was, probably about 8 years ago now, pre-COVID, I decided to do something a little different. I decided to try working out while on vacation. And before I did it, pretty much every thought going through my head was something like this. Well, Lisa, if you work out, it won't be a vacation. And when will you work out? And how the heck are you going to find a gym and time? And how are you going to pack your workout gear? If you're listening, please tell me I'm not the only one who thinks things like this. Like, how am I possibly going to fit room for my workout clothes into my already packed suitcase? Maybe that's just me. So anyways, I decided to get creative and really think about what workouts might look like, even on this 3-week trip that included big flights, weddings, wineries, and resorts. Here's what I did. In the end, I brought my runners along and I did a lot of runs on the beach. And let's talk about a hard workout there, running on the beach. That's a good one. I also found hikes in some of the cities we were staying in. So Troy, my husband, and I, we ended up climbing some mountains. I took 15 minutes in the morning some days, and I would do some burpees or lunges or push-ups at the very least. And when we were in Fiji at the resort, I used the gym there. We went scuba diving, and I did outdoor yoga classes. Now, that's all sounds amazing, right? It's just really making me want to go back on vacation again. Why I want to share this, though, is not to make us all jealous, myself included, but it's to tell you that that trip changed everything. I came back and I was still in my workout routine and I didn't have to, quote, get back into the habit. I never stopped. And since then, for almost 8 years now, I've been really consistent about working out every week, usually 3 to 6 days, some sort of moving my body, whether it's vacation, whether we have our baby or business and beyond. There's definitely been times when it's been more challenging, but it's not as vicious of a cycle anymore. It's not as long of a cycle anymore. And the times that I'm consistent far outweigh the times that I'm not. My default is to work out and move my body, and so I bounce back into it way quicker because I learned to make this change. I wanted to share the story with you because I think it demonstrates a few things. One, that it is possible to have fun and keep up with your goals, that it is possible to change even if you've never done it before. I cycled on and off of working out and fell out of my routine for like 20 something years of my life. So you can do it too. I also think this is important. Creativity is necessary with your goals always, and especially during times like this. And so keep creativity in your mind as we go through the rest of this episode. And remember that it is personal, which we'll talk about some more. Notice this story wasn't about me 2 days postpartum going for a run, because that didn't happen. This is a story about a time in my life when I knew that I needed to make a change and I had the capacity and the resourcefulness to do it. And chances are, if you're listening to this, you've got that in you too. This summer is looking a lot different than most, but the weather is still warm, our days are longer, our kids are maybe out of school, and things at work are a little more chill. With holidays and staycations coming up, even if you're not going far, there is this question of how do you make the most of your summer? And just as important, how do you stay on track with the goals and the commitments that you have? Here's a couple things right up front. I'm not saying you throw out your vacation and hustle right through. That is a recipe for burnout and for overwhelm, and it's simply just not sustainable. But I want to start with one important distinction. A problem I often see and have experienced in the past is that we see summer, holidays, we do these things and we allow it to then set us even further back, and then that actually adds to our negative self-talk. If we think then, oh, I just can't do this, or I'm not good enough, it keeps us stuck and keeps us mediocre. And that's why I really wanted to talk about this topic. Most people don't know how to balance vacation and goals, and they either work too hard and burn out or lose momentum entirely. So if your head is nodding here, your cheeks are blushing a bit because I just called you out, don't worry, I know the feeling too, and I got you covered here. Just a quick note. In episode 11, I talk about balancing Christmas holidays and goals, and I would definitely recommend listening to this episode because in it, I tackle the delightful topic of family gatherings and maintaining sanity, boundaries, and relationships. So if your holiday season, any of them, any vacation involves family gatherings and maintaining those boundaries, go ahead and listen to episode number 11 after this. All right, now let me see. First point here. Really important. I think a big mistake I see people make is that when the holiday season hits, what blurs together too easily is a season and a vacation. So there's a difference, and this is what I want you guys to hear and take away from this. There's a difference between an entire season and a vacation. So a vacation is a period of time off. Maybe you're going somewhere. Maybe it's a long weekend. Maybe you have some time off or the kids are at camp or whatever's happening. Like that's a vacation. And that is not to be confused with an entire season, like let's say summer or winter or spring. What I see often happening, what I've experienced is that we don't make this distinction and we aren't intentional about what we want from either a period of time or downtime and what that season is about. And this can go either way, by the way. Like this can be, we either work right through our vacation or maybe we drink right through it or go, and come back just as exhausted. And this isn't, just for European vacays where it's like 21 cities and 9 days, which might not be happening. This can be camping too. This can be hustling around on your staycation. It's basically just you not paying attention to that downtime and therefore coming out and not getting what you need from it. That's one side. Another side of scene is that we go so hard into vacation mode. We spend a few weeks getting into it, and then we're in it, and then we're sort of out of it, but we never really stop the 3 o'clock Bellinis and beers. We stay up too late. We completely throw out our health. We eat crap food. We don't work out. Our relationship goals go out the window. Business, whatever is happening, we're not paying attention to it. I've said this before. Like really, if you listen to nothing else on my podcast, I hope what you get out of it is about intention, because intention matters. And knowing the difference between what a particular season or time period is about versus what your vacation or your downtime is about is important. That's it. The first step is setting intentions for both your season and any downtime or vacation that you have. So let's talk about how we do that. Really, question one is this: what do you need right now? This is going to be so different for each person and each of you listening to this. And it's going to be different really like every year. What you need in this summer season might be different than next year. It might be different than what last year was like. But get in touch with yourself and ask yourself, what do you need? Start with the season first. And then what you can do is consider, how can your vacation or how can your long weekends or how can your weekends or how can your evenings even, how can they support what you need in that season? This is something that you can do not just in the summer, but literally any season. Understanding first what you need in this time of your life and for, let's say, the next 3 months or 2 months or even 1 month, when you think about that first, then you can look at how can I allow for my downtime to really add to this. This might help you make the difference between deciding whether, if you're craving outdoor time and wanting to do a big hike or a camping trip versus maybe you're really desiring family time, or maybe you want to keep it really simple and do a staycation. Maybe you want adventure and so you do want to go try some new places. It's really about figuring out what you want for the next few months, what you need for the next few months, and how your downtime and vacation are going to support that. This year has been a wild one for many of us. Many people maybe aren't taking vacations or have had to cancel them. You maybe have kids at home. Maybe you're working more. Like it's so different for everybody. And so really check in with what you need, what you want, and what your intentions are for both your season and your vacation and downtime, how they can support that. Okay, question number 2 that I want you to check in with yourself is, what is your capacity? And this is a really honest question. Do you even have holiday time available? Do you have support that you need? Are you already working extra hours right now to make up for the spring? Are you stuck without childcare, without summer camps? And let's think about this again. What does the season look like? What does the vacation look like? Maybe your season has support because your child is in daycare or you've got summer camps, but maybe on vacation you don't, or maybe vice versa. Maybe you're going to go take your vacation to spend some time with family because you really do need support. And so they're going to be able to help you out. I know, business travel isn't really happening, so maybe you have more capacity than usual. This is a really important question to ask yourself. How much time do you have? How much energy do you have for whatever it is that you're looking for? And how can you match those things up? If you are already exhausted and you need a break, caveat here, you don't need this episode. You don't need me. You don't need good weather to tell you this. Create some downtime, and you don't need my permission to take a break. At the same time, I know for some of you guys, things have actually been easier. Maybe you're gaining a few hours because you no longer commute. Maybe you're haven't talked about capacity in this sense, but maybe you haven't been paying for childcare or you canceled a big trip so you actually have more money than before. And so your capacity for spending is higher than it has been in the past. I do encourage you to challenge yourself a bit here. I want you to listen to yourself. That's the most important thing. And also remember to up level, to think about what your untapped potential is and what's inside of you and how you can level up. When you know what you need for the season, for your vacation, and you know what your capacity is, time, energy, money, all those things, support. When you have those things, then you can look at your season and then break it down. And what you want to do is, number one, reconnect to your goal and match that to your needs and your capacity. Ask yourself, what part of your goal do you want to continue pursuing during this season? And what about on vacation? That's the first part, is reconnecting and matching your goal to your needs and your capacity. Number two, you want to look at your goal and decide what is really important. How much will you do? How much progress do you want to make? I want you to also consider this. If it is a new habit or if you're still working on gaining momentum or consistency, I challenge you to say, is there a way that I can continue this progress at some level? Now remember, this isn't about burnout. It's not about not giving yourself a break. It is about considering if there's some element of your goal or your commitment that is important to continue that momentum and continue that habit creation on. Number three, you want to make a commitment to how you're going to do this. Make a commitment, make a plan, how you're going to connect your goal with your needs. So this is where you ask yourself, what is this going to look like? When will I do it? Will I take any breaks? And this is going to be really personal, but let me give you a few different ways of what this might look like. Maybe you will decide to dedicate half the time you usually do. Maybe during the long summer days, you're actually going to up your fitness goal and do more workouts outside. Maybe you'll decide that you do need a full break for a week or 2 or 3, whatever it is that you need. Or maybe you actually decide that you need consistency with your writing to finish a screenplay. So you're going to keep it going even when you're on vacation, even if it's just for 20 or 30 minutes a day. See what I mean? It could be different depending on who you are, what your capacity is, what you need, what your goal is, how new this habit is, or how much you need momentum to keep going with your goal. That's why it's so important to look at your goal, to reconnect and match it with your needs and capacity, to decide what is important and make a commitment to how you will continue and what that really looks like for you. Here's a few other tips to help you make the most of your summer without throwing away your goals and your progress, right out the window. So I talk a lot about intention, and this is really about looking at your best self, your untapped potential. I know that if you're listening to this, you're someone who is dedicated. You're someone who has so much wisdom. You're an incredible woman. And I want you to think about who you want to be, what the best version of you is, because she's inside of you, and what she does this summer. What does she look like? How does she show up? And this isn't really necessarily about the doing part, but about the being. And the question here is really like, who are you being when you are your best self? For me, that's often being relaxed, that's being alive, that's being excited and confident and joyful. And so for me, that might even be a way to approach my summer, is less about the doing and exactly what that's going to look like, but more just about, I'm going to show up every day excited and courageous and alive and joyful every day. And that is going to allow me to feel like I'm still making progress on my personal self and on my goals in some capacity while still having fun, because all those things are still wonderful things. So maybe you have a commitment, or maybe your best self is about working on self-love. How can you still be the version of you that brings self-love in the summer? How can you aim to still be the most positive person in the room, even if you're in a tent? How can you still be creative if that's something that you want to be, if that's the best version of you is creative? What does that look like even if you're on the road or you're away from your art studio or you're away from your work? That's another way that you can approach your goals and vacation or summer, a season, is to consider what the best version of you is and what she does and show up as that. An extension of that is really to look at the same question for your vacation. What do you need for your best self to show up even on vacation? I mean, you want to bring her along, don't you? You want to make the most of your time, so make sure you're setting yourself up for success. Will committing to solid sleep on your holiday help you actually enjoy it more? Will putting aside time to read or meditate daily help? What about booking a few yoga classes? Is that going to allow you to be more present for your kids at the beach? Go ahead and consider these things and then make it happen. Okay, my last little tip here. This is something that I recommend for really every season. And I think it's especially important in 2020, where the big things, trips, events, weddings, those things aren't happening. And this year more than ever, we have to be very intentional to create memories and joy in the way we desire. And for that reason, I encourage you to create a summer bucket list. In episode 11, I also talked about creating a winter holiday or like Christmas season bucket list, which I do every year, but I also do a summer one. And why? Why do I do this? Well, let me tell you, without one, it's very easy to get sucked into another day of Netflix reruns or nonstop margaritas or other people's invitations. And then next thing you know, it's the end of the season and you didn't do the things that you actually really enjoy about life or about that season. I hate saying the word season so many times. I just have to say that. I apologize. I know some people really hate the word season. I try not to use it too much, but this time I'm literally talking about a season. Okay. So back to the bucket list. It doesn't have to be complicated, by the way. You can start a note on your phone. You can have a list that you put on your fridge. You can fill it out with your family. Troy and I, we use our Alexa smart speaker for this. We have a list and we say, when we come up with an idea or we read an article, we ask her to add a new thing onto the list. And I think this is so fun because this gives you something when you do have downtime, whether it's an evening or a weekend or a long weekend or you've got some extended time off, then you can actually know what you want to do, what are those things, and go make it happen. So what are the things that you are most looking forward to? Is there a certain hike you've been wanting to do? Is there a sunset you want to watch? Maybe sushi and sunset. That was one of the things on my summer bucket list. Maybe there are beaches you want to swim at. Maybe there are certain rides you want to go on at your local fair. I know some of them are open, some of them are not, but what are some of the things that you really look forward to about this season? Write them all down and then start to schedule it and cross it off your bucket list. Guaranteed. There's going to be some you can do after work on a weekday. Maybe you can try a new cocktail or try a new recipe or barbecue one night at the beach or whatever that is. And if there's some that require weekends or more time, get it in your calendar. You only have so many summers, so make them count and make the most of them. Have fun with it. All right, so there's a few tips and what to consider as you plan and experience your summer, your vacations, and really make the most of your downtime without losing momentum. Now, there's something else important here that I want to say. I'm recording this on August 6th, 2020. I initially started drafting this in June. So yeah, it's taken me about 6 weeks to get this episode going because the last 6 weeks have been some of the hardest of my life. I want to spare you the details because they truly don't matter. And I know so many of you guys are going through hard times too, which is why I wanted to open up and talk about this a little bit. What matters is that you know that if you can relate, that you are not the only one. And if it feels like life keeps handing you obstacles and challenges, that you're not alone. If, like me, you are going through ups and downs and unexpected setbacks, and it feels like nothing is going as planned, this is for you. And what I'm about to say, I hope that it helps you. No matter what is going on in your life, there is always a purpose. Maybe that purpose is a slowdown. Maybe that purpose is a redirection of your time, your energy, and attention. Maybe the purpose is a lesson or it's a reminder of how deeply you do want something and how far you're willing to go get it and how committed you really are. Something that's been grounding me is thinking that I know it's possible to have it all, and I believe it is for all of us. But I also have to remember that it's a marathon and not a sprint. And sometimes different periods of life will focus on different aspects of having it all. And that's what it's been for me. For me, the last few weeks have been a deep and a really intense time and a chance to refocus on my health and my well-being. Speaking candidly, I've gone through the deepest depression that I've ever experienced. I've had the lowest motivation that I've ever known. And some days I literally struggle to function at a basic level. But even in that rock bottom, and I will say that was a bottom for me, it's also come with some really beautiful purposes. And I want to share them with you in case this resonates, in case this supports you. Well, number one, the dark days, they've allowed me, and I know it's the same for you too, they've allowed me to get even more grounded in who I am. I have journaled more. I have ugly cried in the shower more. I have faced my shadow and uncovered so many truths. And really these dark spots that have allowed me, the real me, to now shine through more brilliantly and authentically because I know even more who I am and what I'm meant to do in this world. The lesson that I want you to hear from this is that even in your darkest moments, that you are still here. You are still learning, you are still growing, and you are evolving. And I want you to give yourself the space to feel all the feelings, to grieve, to crash, and to rebuild. I shared a little bit of this with a friend the other day, and she said something so amazing. She said, the rock bottoms in life will teach you so much more than the mountaintops ever will. And that just got me. I was like, yes, that's so true. We can, as much as we want the mountaintops, and often our goals are about the mountaintops and wanting to reach those and live on the top of them. Sometimes we need the rock bottoms to set our direction, to remind us of what's important, to really ground us in gratitude. The rock bottoms are a necessary part. Otherwise, we would never feel the mountaintops. So that is lesson number one. That is one of my purposes, was this reminder that the dark spots, you're still here. Second thing that's been so powerful, and I really wanted to share this one too, because it was also part of the inspiration of where I took this, like the direction I took this episode. And this is a lesson in the reality that I took a lot of time off work. And I, at some points, struggled with that guilt of I should be doing more and all those things that I know you can relate to. But what it did allow for is for me to spend some incredible time with my daughter and my husband, and I am so grateful for that. In the slower moments, and there were a lot of them, but there have been way more snuggles and heart-to-hearts and learnings and laughs and genuine connections. We have crossed a lot of things off of our summer bucket list. We've made once-in-a-lifetime memories with our sweet little 2.5-year-old. We've been to splash parks and Science World and the Vancouver Aquarium and pools and beaches and wineries and Granville Island. Like, we've just had a great time. So I want you to hear me loud and clear on this. And this ties so much to this episode. The lesson here is that life is still moving, and there are always ways to create joy with the ones you love. There's always a way to find joy and create it. Surround yourself with good people. Put your phone down. Work will always be there. And if you take a few days, a few weeks, a few months, or even a few years with a lighter touch on the gas pedal, that is okay, as long as you're still heading in the right direction. So go ahead and make your memories, create joy, no exceptions. Boom, I want to mic drop right there. So why am I sharing this? In this episode, I know it's about sticking to your goals and not losing momentum, but I want to be super loud and clear. This isn't about creating exhaustion. This isn't about constant hustle. This is not about go, go, go. This is about intention, about knowing what direction you are heading in your life, about knowing what you truly desire. It's about consistency with who you're becoming and consistently being your best and showing up for her, whether it's doing a certain season during its summer or winter or vacations or staycations or holidays that you have planned. It's about being your best self and showing up for you. And it's also about being present to what is, in the good and the bad, so that you can learn, so that you can grow, and so you can make incredible memories for yourself, your friends, your family, and beyond. Now let's talk here for a moment, because intention is about having clarity on where you're going. Intention is about knowing and having a desire to get there and having a plan on how you're going to get there. I want to ask you a question, and I know it's a podcast, so I can't technically hear your answers, but I feel like I can. So we're a goal podcast, right? Goalden Girls podcast. So how are you doing on your goals this year? How are you feeling so far this year? Are you becoming the person you wanted to be? Are you getting closer to the vision for your life? Have you fallen off track at all? Are you stuck? No matter, I think, what your goals are, no matter how solid it's been, everyone's life has been impacted. Everybody's life has changed in some way or maybe every way since January 1st. And I know for many of us, myself included, I'm not immune to this. There have been times where we've all lost momentum. We've gotten stuck and gotten discouraged. But I've also come out of this and I'm feeling so refreshed and I'm feeling motivated. And if you're like me, I know that you are also ready to feel inspired. You are also ready to feel like you can make progress. I don't want you to go through that guilt of feeling like you're behind or feeling like any of this year has been a waste, because trust me, it hasn't. I have a sense that if you're still listening to this, that you're ready to decide what's next for you, make a solid plan to get there without that pressure, without the worry, without missing out on all the joy that's really still here in life. So I can completely relate to all this, and that's why I wanted to create something super special and why I'm hosting the Mid-Year Refresh live workshop on Tuesday, August 11th from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Now, if you're listening past this date, still listen in because I'll probably be hosting it again. I've never done this before in this format, but basically what I've put together is a workshop, a live day together, and it's a collection of the work that I do with my one-on-one clients, our Goalden Girls mastermind in our community, and I know it's going to be transformative. If you are interested, come join us, myself, some other awesome, inspiring women ready to jump in, refresh, and take action. By the end of the live workshop, you're going to walk away feeling empowered. You're going to be ready to hop in the driver's seat of your life again and get intentional about how you're going to spend the rest of 2020. You're going to feel proactive and in control instead of feeling like you're always just reacting. I'm sure I'm not the only one that's felt somewhat like this year. You're going to walk away with clarity on your goals and what's important to you. You're going to release that shame and the guilt no matter what has happened or where you're at. You're going to create your next goal plan. You're going to stop pressuring yourself to be further along. You're going to take action, big and small, to make the most of the year. And most of all, you're going to feel energized and ready to rock the rest of your summer and the rest of your year. Now, normally I would charge hundreds of dollars for a workshop like this. I decided to do a discounted price of $97 for this, but if you're listening to this and if you're a member of our community, you can actually grab a ticket for only $23 US. I know, it's a crazy good deal. My coach was like, what are you doing? Maybe don't do this. Why are you doing it like that? And I know, okay, let me say two things. Number one, I know a lot of people say this, but I actually mean it. I will never do it at this price again. I'm already creating a workshop for the fall, and it will definitely be, the lowest price will be $77 to $97, like at the bottom. The second thing I want to say, because I know some of you guys might be like, well, if it's only $23, is it going to actually be worth it? Yes. I am creating this and designing it as if it's, because it is worth hundreds, as if you are paying me hundreds and thousands of dollars. That's always my goal, is to blow your mind. And so this is an opportunity for me to test a little bit, to play, and honestly just see people, because I miss people. And I know that there is a lot of potential for you guys to have massive transformation. And hopping on a workshop, getting to actually get coaching with me, asking the right questions and creating a plan together, that's going to get you massive results. So the fact that it's a low price does not at all reflect the fact that it's going to be amazing. So go check out lisamichaud.com/workshop. Link is, of course, in the show notes too. Spaces are limited and they are first come, first serve. And trust me, you do not want to miss out. This is not your average Zoom call. It is going to be fun. It is going to be empowering, exciting, and soul rejuvenating, because I'm all about the soul. All right. So I know that the last couple months have thrown you off. Maybe I know it's not just me, and that's okay. What is not okay and what I don't want for you is to stay stuck. I don't want you to stay unmotivated. I don't want you to stay in survival mode and stay unhappy. It is not okay for you to have everything that is within you, all of that potential, everything you have in you. You know it's there and you know it's in you. You were born to live life and to grow from the challenges, all the challenges that have been thrown you this way, and to step into the most incredible version of you. Pandemic, no pandemic, ups, downs, challenges, whatever, you are still here. There is a purpose to everything that you've been through, and we're going to go deep to uncover that and apply it to what's next in this workshop. So join me August 11th. Come shift your energy, get inspired and intentional. You're going to walk away refreshed, focused, and ready to hop back in that driver's seat. So go grab your ticket, only $23. Heck, grab one for a friend too while you're at it. lisamichaud.com/workshop. Let me say one last thing about that. I'm also hosting VIP special exclusive workshop. So if you want to treat yourself and do something a little special, make sure you go for VIP. Normally I'm charging $297 for that upgrade, but again, in this community, I love you, so you're going to get it only for $97 more. You might be wondering, what does it even mean to be a VIP? Why would I treat myself? Well, you're going to get two special things. So number one, you're going to get access to all the recordings so you can watch it again. A lot of times I find people on these kinds of sessions, they have amazing ahas, or they say things and they have this clarity and then they forget it. So you're going to get access to all the recordings for you to go back, listen to it again. You'll get audio and video versions of it to make sure that you don't lose anything. Second thing that is extra special is we're going to be hosting a VIP only session after the workshop. That is designed to help you flesh out anything else that you didn't get on the workshop, help support you in actually implementing and giving you accountability and helping you move forward. You, me, the women in our VIP group, it's going to be a VIP only session, and you can get it for only $97 more. So make sure you go to the link in the show notes, go check it out, and sign up before the spots sell out, because that is extra limited. All right. Thanks for letting me share that with you. By the way, I appreciate that. So now you're ready. You are ready to make the most of your summer season and the good weather without losing momentum or guilting yourself or burning out. You are going to be intentional about what you actually want for the summer and ready to make it happen. And you're going to feel refreshed and excited about the next season when it does come and ready to keep making progress. And you're also going to join in on a mid-year workshop, right? Mid-year refresh? Yeah. Okay. Don't forget to grab your tickets. Link in the show notes. I want to leave you with this. My friend, give yourself the space that you need. Do not make yourself wrong if you are motivated as heck and fired up and feeling great. Also, don't guilt yourself if you need more time than usual because you are grieving or if you're a little lost. Don't get stuck in inaction or inertia. Trust where you are. It is possible, and actually, I think essential, for you to both fully accept where you are and that it is where you're meant to be, and to also know where you're going and how you will transform. With love and with grace, to transform with that passion and desire. The world, it's still going, it's still moving, and you are still here. If you're listening, you're still here. Those of you that have been listening to Goalden Girls podcast since the beginning, you know my journey as a speaker and a coach, it started with a health scare. It started with the question of what would I only do if I had a year or two left to live? That is what got me here. And I'd be remiss to let that lesson slide in this moment here. Hear me loud and clear. Best case scenario, you get about 80 summers in your life. You might have 60 left, or 50 left, or 40 left, or less. None of us know. On your goal-getting journey, and this applies for always, every time, keep sight of the big picture. Never lose sight of the big picture of where you're going, the big picture of what matters the most, the vision of who you're becoming, the truth inside of you that you know your potential and how incredible you are. And most of all, keep sight of the little picture too, those things that are right in front of you. The sunsets every night, the moment you take to stretch your neck, the swims in water that is way too cold, the dance parties, the laughs, the mojitos that are perfectly too strong, the humans you connect with, the lives that you're touching, the impact that you have from being you every day. And I know that's massive, right? That's a tall order. To hold both the big picture, the vision for your life, and to hold the important little things right in front of you that matter the most today. But that's what this is about. And if I know you, you're ready for the challenge. That is the balance. Listen to yourself. Listen to your heart. Hold both of those things dearly and find that balance, the dance, the journey that is going to work for you.
Thank you so much for listening. If something spoke to you, send me a message by sharing this episode and tagging me on social media. If you know someone who would love to hear this episode, please share it with them too. Because I love surprises, make sure you subscribe to the Goalden Girls podcast today. It's the only way to find out about bonus surprise episodes and make sure you don't miss a single beat on your golden journey. Thanks again for listening, and I will talk to you in the next episode of the Goalden Girls podcast.